people and kids and everybody would like to go there to listen to his talks. But in a certain moment, he was doing a meditation with the Bible, and he found words something like, they look for food, there is nobody to give them. And it seemed that in these days, he said something was saying to him, a lot of people need the food of the truth, the bread of the truth, and nobody gives them. And it seemed that during these days he had a dream of a Chinese boy asking for food. And he felt, I have to be a missionary in China. And when he got this inspiration, only a few years earlier, St. Arnold Jansen had founded the Society of the Divine Word, but at that time was not even called it with that name, the Mission House in Stijl in Holland, but mostly for German-speaking people. So he saw, Rector Jansen just founded a group, and they speak German, I also speak German, so he wrote a letter, he said, I would like to be admitted into your mission house. And Father Jansen was very happy. He was on the way to Rome, he stopped at his place, have a meeting, and then he said, welcome to our community. So after a few months of preparation, finally he moved to Stijl, to our mother house. It's in Holland, we don't have the photo here. And he was there for a certain time, knowing the community, and at the same time, because he was already a priest, he was teaching to the seminarians. And finally, through the Bishop of Hong Kong, that's why Hong Kong is very important for us, the Bishop of Hong Kong welcomed the SVD priest in China. So Bishop Raimondi at that time welcomed them. So Father John Baptist Answer, who was German, and Father Joseph Freinademetz, both of them came here and arrived in 1879, in April. I forgot the exact date. So yeah, April 20th, arrived in Hong Kong. They knew that that would be a temporary thing, because the Pope needed to send missionaries elsewhere, because in China there were many places they have never been seen a missionary. So they were here just like preparing, and at that time especially Father Answer was in contact with here and there, and finally they found that the Franciscans who were in charge of Shantung, they felt we have not enough people, we can only cover actually a few places, so they decided to divide Shantung province, the north in charge of the Franciscans, the south they gave it to the SVD. So that's why in 1881 Father Freinademetz left Hong Kong and moved to Shantung. And there, when they arrived in that area of Shantung, southern Shantung, there was only one village with Catholics, and only 158. Very few number, very small number. So they began working, and really working very hard. At that time there were no good roads, the conditions for health were very bad, and people were dying very young, a lot of epidemics, and the life was really difficult. But he was very eager, and going from one place to another, preaching the gospel, preparing catechists, and establishing Christian communities here and there and everywhere. Shantung is not a very big place, but it's quite, compared with Hong Kong, it's very big. So you have from one southern Shantung is like this. The southern part must be from here to here, at least 400 kilometers, or maybe more. It's a long place. So he was there for many, many years, 30 years, working non-stop. At that time it was very difficult, but he was always persevering with his people. In the beginning, he had some problems with the language, as everybody. Everybody knows. Learning Chinese, for us, you can say from the West, who speak Spanish or English or German, is very difficult. Really, very difficult. And so he himself had problems, and also the younger priests who were arriving there said, Chinese is very easy to learn, difficult to learn. So, but he would say to the younger missionaries to say, don't worry, Because there is one language that everybody understands, is the language of love. And we all SVD know this. It's very true. Yeah? You can have a poor command of language, but if you are a loving person, it doesn't matter much. Yeah? So we have to be 努力学中文 and so we have to strive to learn good Chinese. But anyway, we know that the most important is the attitude. Somebody will have a wonderful Chinese, but he despises people. Hey, you, it's no use. Huh? So he was saying that the most important thing is to love the people. If you love the people, they will love you, and that's important. So he said, mission is really love, to promote love, to love the people, and to show the love of God through our love to the people. So that was one of his key points, and actually he was a very loving person. The other thing that he was very, you can say, he accepted people as they were. It's something that always we have this problem. Why we get angry with others? At least I do. I would like not to, but I do get angry with other people. Why? Because sometimes we expect too much from others. Yeah? He should be like this, like this, like this. He should be like that. And even sometimes we get angry with ourselves. Why I'm like this? Why I have this? Yeah? And we get angry with ourselves. Yeah? And he was saying, we cannot expect perfection. Yeah? Nobody is perfect. So we have to accept people as they are. And we have to accept reality as it is. Yeah? And that kind of wisdom makes that everybody felt comfortable with him. Yeah? Sometimes at that time the bishop was a bit strong. So Bishop answered. And it was quite tough. So everybody would go to him for consolation. So the young priest would say, oh, Bishop, 很凶. So they would come here and say, yeah. That's why people were saying Bishop answered, because his companion answered became a bishop. A strong man, actually a strong leader, but too tough. So people said Bishop Ansel was the father of the mission of Southern Shantou. And then Father Freinademetz was the mother. Like they say, 路难 the 传教区的母亲 so they use these words to describe him, because he was really a caring person. So that was his charisma. So finally, I want to stress that in Freinademetz himself there was a kind of conversion. As a European coming from a developed country came to China, and somehow he said he despised some of the customs of the Chinese. Oh, especially Bai Bai. They went to the temple to go to worship the idols, these pagans. His first letters, you could see a little bit of sense of superiority. We know the truth. We know the real God, and these poor pagans, they don't know anything. So it was a little bit this kind of attitude. But he was changing very much, and he was beginning to like more and more the Chinese people. And they liked it so much, he said, I really admire the Chinese people. They are really great. And after a time, at the end, even in a letter to one of his benefactors, to Mr. Weber, he would say, and we always quote this thing, he said, in heaven, actually, I'm here so long time in China, that I'm more a Chinese than a Tyrolese. He says here, I'm a Tyrolese, this little area of Tyrol. I'm more a Chinese than a Tyrolese. And actually, in heaven, I would like to be a Chinese. I would like to be considered Chinese, because he really loved Chinese people very much. So in this point, it's a great model for us missionaries. So to say, we have to love the people so much, the people with whom we live with, that at the end we felt identified with them. So this is also the other very important thing that we have to learn from our saint. Thank you for your patience. Father,